Hi, Internet. Welcome to the Troyan YouTube channel. It is Thin Lizzy Thursday, which means we are breaking down a Thin Lizzy song and reacting to it. I am the worst reactor on YouTube because I'm reacting to stuff that I already know, like a chump. This is the unfortunate thing when you know a lot of music like I do. There's not a lot of surprises under the sun. But really, this is just about breaking down a song in the Thin Lizzy catalog, talking about why it's great, sharing it with you, sucking down some cough drops in the process because I just do not do well at this time of year. So, the song we are reacting to, analyzing, commenting on is Mexican Blood from the Renegade album. So, for the first time over the course of the last, week and a half, YouTube has, a lot of, free movies, and, movies that are legit, legally free. It's like, what's this with ads? And so they had Kenny Rogers the Gambler on YouTube, and I was like, "Ah, shoot, I haven't seen that." But The Gambler by Kenny Rogers is one of the greatest songs of all times. It's just that might be the best country song. It's either that or Jolene or You're Always on My Mind. But honestly, it's probably The Gambler. Gambler's freaking great. So I watched all the Gambler movies over the course of the last couple weeks, and I'm like, man, I'm in kind of a cowboy kind of mood, and I already did Cowboy Song, and I'm like, you know what? Let's do Mexican Blood. That's a cool one. So this is off Renegade. So this is by a lot of, I've seen a lot of people say that this is Thin Lizzy's worst album. I've heard people say Chinatown's their worst. I've heard people say Renegade is their worst, and I've heard people say the first two albums are the worst. I fall into the latter category where I would say the first two albums are the worst. And I think this is a really cool album. I think this is a really cool song. And I'm excited to share it with you. This is a really great example of Phil's storytellerisms in song form. So yeah, let's get right to it. So Mexican Blood off Renegade. Alright, so, a very cool start to the song. Love the sort of flamenco Spanish guitar at the beginning. Great driving bass line. But also, they're already starting with, there's sort of a galloping edge to it. But still a very, pretty melodic line on top. From, I believe, Darren Warden there. So, once again, a killer start to a killer song. So the title threw me off a little bit when I first saw it. Sorry for shifting around the cough drop. I should have muted there. That is my bad on that. But it's better than me, coughing every 5 seconds. So, the song title. So, for those who don't know, I actually grew up in a mixed race family where my stepdad was of Mexican descent and my step siblings were of Mexican descent. So my sister and my mom were white, and they were Latino. Still are Latino, but for some reason, and so we grew up with a lot of Mexican culture as part of our lives, and for some reason, this song title when I first saw the song title, it made me not want to listen to the song. Because for some reason, I just thought about Mexican Blood and thinking about rock musicians and how most rock songs are about girls. And I'm like, oh man, is this about a Mexican girl and menstruation? Is what my first thought was. And I thought that man, that's gross. And I didn't want to listen to the song because the song title, it bothered me. In the same way that the song title "Gay Boys" with its bluntness, before I heard the song, I was like, I don't know if I want to listen to that. But the song being called Mexican Blood is actually super important to the narrative, and these lyrics are great. And so I'm going to rewind to here as we get into the transition with the lyrics.
She was a Mexican girl, she had Mexican blood. I seen it the night that she died. She was a Mexican girl, she had Mexican blood. Oh, how she could drive that Mexican boy wild. He's on the run near El Paso, and he'll cross all across America. He's leaving behind old Mexico and his girl, that pretty Mexican girl, that pretty Mexican girl that died. She had Mexican blood. She had Mexican blood. She had Mexican blood.
Yeah, so there's so much to love here. So it's building intrigue in the narrative where you're just like, you know that this character is going to die by the end of the song, and so you're wondering what happens. And you've already got passionate young lovers, which is a trope in many a rock song, but especially in Springsteen and Lizzy, it's about and Meatloaf and stuff. Wearing a Meatloaf shirt underneath the sweatshirt, but it's like young people and love and passion, and things are going wrong, and they're a couple of kids trying to make it. So you've got that aspect to it. But the instrumentation shows a lot of creativity with the steel drums and just very pretty melodic lines. And the thing is, there's not it's not like the music is too upbeat where there's a disconnect from the lyrics. They're actually tying together very well, where you can have something that's a bit more major key and still have a sadder lyric, because that gives you this great bittersweet vibe. So really, this is just knocking it out of the park and super catchy. So rewinding a hair, getting back to it.
He was a Mexican boy with a Mexican smile, and he drank a little tequila. He was a Mexican boy in a Mexican town, and oh, how he loved his young senorita. Now and then he'd cross the Rio Grande, and he'd come back a wanted man. His Mexican girl was his Mexican prize, and that girl was his girl, that pretty Mexican girl, that pretty Mexican girl that died.
And just really great vocal phrasing and excellent use of harmonies there. Really, this is just absolutely killer. Rewinding just a hair.
Girl that died. She had Mexican blood. She had Mexican blood. He was a cowboy's boy and a cowboy's son, and on his head he had a gun. He was a cowboy's boy, he was the law, he was out looking for someone. The night he rode into town, the Mexican boy tried to gun him down. That's when his heart broke up inside, 'cause lying on the ground was his girl, his pretty Mexican girl. She died. She had Mexican blood. She had Mexican blood.
Yeah, so a lot of really great stuff there. I love when he introduces the cowboy character, the sheriff, the law. He gets Phil gets a drawl and a grit in his voice, as if he's playing the character as he's describing the character, and really sounds like a tough, Southern Texas man. He embodies that, and it's a really clever choice to do that, to sort of act out that part of the character's voice, while describing the character in the third person. It's a really, really clever artistic choice, but helps encompass that character so much more. And of course, the tragedy of the exchange. It's really, really just awesome, killer stuff. Let's rewind a hair. Get back to it.
She had Mexican blood. She had Mexican blood. She loved him. She had Mexican when he lost her. She had Mexican with her. She had Mexican blood. I see that the night she died. She loved him. She had Mexican. That's where we lost her. She had now he's heartbroken. She had Mexican. He loved her. She had Mexican. And she loved him. She had Mexican. We lost her. She had Mexican. He lost everything. She had Mexican lost. She had Mexican.
And there you go, 3 minutes and 40 seconds. But you know what? That's all you need. You had characters, you had a torrid love affair, um, and you had a complete story in here in under 4 minutes, with catchy hooks, clever instrumentation, very very good vocals, like excellent delivery from Phil. Um, you know, Everyone killed it on this track. This is another great Thin Lizzy story song where it's a bite-sized story. That's what these story songwriters are so good, is that, like, with a movie, you have like at least an hour and a half in order to get the experience of that story. Books, depending on the length of the book, maybe like 10 hours, 20 hours, really depends. But you're spending probably at least like 10 hours with a book. Real, for like, yeah, that's for like a brisk read. So at least 10 hours with a book. If you're playing a Japanese role playing game, that's going to be around 40 hours average in order to get the totality of an emotional story. Thin Lizzy's giving you that in under 4 minutes, and I think that's what's great about these about people who are storyteller songwriters, that you can get like a complete story in such a brief amount of time. And so it's just like these bite-sized stories you can just enjoy over and over again. And so when you get that urge for great storytelling, but you also want to listen to awesome music, like, you can do both at the same time. It's just it's a really great form of art, and I think this is a great example of it. So yeah, this is more of a deep cut. I actually don't know if Lizzy has ever played this live. Yeah, let me know what you guys thought of this in the comments below. Also, let me know if you don't think that The Gambler by Kenny Rogers is the greatest country song of all time, and tell me what you think is the greatest country song of all time, because the correct answer is The Gambler. Alright, that's the video. Bye everyone. Y'all have a good one. And also, please keep on the lookout for Q&A videos. I've done 2 of those, and I will be doing more. So if you have questions to ask me, ask in the comments. Bye, everyone.